So I just tried something. I saw a YouTube video. I'm going to run you through it. And I think it's pretty interesting. I think I'm going to show you what I did, but my goal with this video is to give you an idea of something you could do for yourself because it's actually really simple, but I still don't think a lot of people would do it right now, even though we're in this AI climate and everything. So let me explain it to you. So I found this video. I'm just going to this guy's channel. I've never heard of this guy, never saw him in my life. I am not sharing my screen. There you go. I've never seen this guy in my entire life. His name's Dan Henry, but it popped up on my algorithm or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. So this is the video right here. It's one of his most recent ones. And I saw like his Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, and then Alex Hormozian. It's fast, faster, and fastest. And I was intrigued. I don't know why I was intrigued, but like I'm into personal branding. Obviously, the algorithm knows I'm into personal branding, all this sort of stuff. So I watch it. Now we're not going to watch this whole video or anything. We're not going to watch any of it, but I'm like, 10 or so minutes into it, and it's 50 personal branding mistakes you need to avoid. And it's 50 minutes long. And I'm like, okay, I am interested in this video. However, and I started watching it, right? Like I watched like 5 minutes of it. And I was like, you know what? This is interesting, but how can I like use this? Because anytime I watch a video like this, I think in my mind, it's like, oh, all this makes sense. It's just tips, right? Like it's literally like he has this nice little thing here where it's like the piece of paper or whatever, and he's reading it and then he's going back and forth and he's talking about all these different things, right? And it's really good stuff. The guy's great. But I am not going to be able to consume all of these and like actually implement them in my life just by watching the video. And I think like I'm going to go back here for a second. I really think that this is like a really important thing for me to realize and potentially you if you're watching this. We are at this point where there's so much content that it takes so much time to actually consume and then think and then plan how to implement and then actually implement it. The one thing that like I have realized that AI right now in 2025 is really good for is skipping most of the first 3 things that I just said there. I'm not saying you don't need to consume because you should still consume, and I'm a YouTuber, so maybe you're consuming this content. Maybe try this with this video, see if you can do the same thing. But, that's getting real meta there. But anyway, like you on certain things, you don't need to fully consume, right? Because a lot of stuff that it said has been said. You don't need to, unless it's for like, education and borderline entertainment, like you don't necessarily need to consume it. And even if you do consume it, you should still kind of consume it, but still like I'll show you something. So then after you consume it, you need to literally understand it and comprehend it. That takes time. And for me, with a fast-paced video like this, like yeah, I'm getting it, but I'm like losing. There's 50 things in here, right? Then the next thing is you have to like actually plan it. You have to understand and then you have to think like, how does this correlate to my life? And then start to think of a plan on how to implement it. And then you actually have to implement it, right? Now the actual implementing, maybe one day we'll get there more so with AI agents and all this sort of stuff, but that's the one that I'm going to leave completely out of this video. Everything before then, I'm going to show you exactly what I thought of. As soon as, for some reason, this popped in my head, I was like, I'm going to try this. So I started watching this video. I didn't want to watch it for 50 minutes. So I just took the whole transcript, and let me actually show you exactly how to do it, just in case you don't know how. You can go to any video, and I would do this on desktop. You go down here, and then you press show transcript. Now, sometimes this won't be down here. If it's not down here on like your videos or anybody else's, it's because normally it's because it didn't process yet and fully get the transcript. Like when I upload videos, it's not there for like maybe 30 minutes, depending on how long the video is. But you click show transcript, okay? And then you come over here and you could search, you can do whatever you want in here. This is a cool feature just for any reason, right? But if you just grab right here and I just hold down my mouse and I just go on my scroll wheel, and then I just stop, I copy the whole thing, and then I just drop it into ChatGPT. Sometimes it's too long, sometimes it's too many tokens, all that sort of stuff or whatever. Like it's too much in the prompt. But if you just drop it in there, ChatGPT is really good at this, and it just knows. I'll show you something funny here in a second when I get to the bottom of this. I do this all the time for my own videos because I want to generate the chapters with AI, and it just knew that like, oh, it thought this was my video because I do this all the time, and it like put all this stuff in here, and then it gives me title ideas, it gives me thumbnails. Like this is a different topic for a different video. It just did that because I didn't give it any other information. But I was like, no, that's somebody else. I'm watching it, and I want to, I think it's like a good framework piece. And I told it to save it to my memory. And I was like, hey, can you go through the first 10 of these and show me how to implement them? So you can either do this with the same video or anything else that you find this is like a good way to do this with, right? And so what I was like, I just told it to do all that. So now if you watch this video, this is exactly what this guy is saying. Like if we scroll back to whatever like number 1 is or whatever, wherever he says number 1, I don't really know exactly where it's at, but, like, if you don't know your customer, like, this is number 2. If you can't name your customer, this is number 2 as an example. So, like, boom. So all it did was it just went through that transcript, and it said, like, here's what the first thing he said, the second thing he said, third thing he said. Great information on its own, but it's not applicable to what I'm talking about specifically because I would have just had to think of this all myself. ChatGPT, however, knows me because of all the conversations and shit I have and all the memory and everything. And I've told it like what I'm doing and how I'm doing it kind of at like a high level. But I just wanted to briefly go through some of this. We don't have to go through all of it, but wanted to briefly go through and show you kind of like what it's done for me. So like grow one person, not an audience. And I have to go through this in depth for myself and actually like, critique it and edit it and stuff. But this is a huge time saver. The amount of time that I saved just getting to this point is easily 50 minutes because that's the length of the video. Plus, I mean, God knows how much time it would have taken me to even think of all this stuff, right? So it's just crazy where we're at now if you use this stuff to your advantage. All right, so let's just read some of these because I'm interested. So grow one person at a time. These talking about like make sure like you're targeting kind of like one person. You have like kind of like name your customer. So your one person is. It came up with Chris, a 32-year-old solo WordPress no code freelancer turning into a tiny agency, drowning in plugin choices, scope creep, and content versus client work tension. Wants 20 to 30K per month, fewer plates spinning, and simpler pipeline prints work. So if I'm me, like maybe I could edit this, but this is really good. I should literally just every single time I create some content, like at least on the main part of what I talk about, it should be specifically talking to Chris. And that's what this is too. It's like name your customer. So it's Chris Marino. He lives in mid-market U.S. city, 6 to 10 active clients, 2 retainers, messy scoping, slow delivery, clear offers, productized delivery, and Chris uses scattered scope creep need system. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you operate off of that or something similar. And it's like be the reporter, not the expert. I think I actually do this one half decently. So agency grade builds, field notes, not exactly sure what that means. Maybe it's just like the title of that. Okay, so it's series idea each week, one lesson observed in your work, intake pricing, jet engine, etc. Format cadence. And again, this is really cool because it's like it's telling you exactly what you do. Like it's because I've given it so much information about me, it knows all of these things. So it just has like a model kind of around me, which could be bad too because sometimes depending if it knows this is just random AI thing, if it knows where you're trying to go, sometimes it will go there and not push back at all. But that's where you still have to think critically to some degree. So that's just like one other thing that I would say. Format cadence, rules. Okay. Serve who, not what you sell. Replace product talk with outcomes Chris cares about. Ship a profitable site without drowning in revisions. 3-work offer menu. Stops custom one-offs. Weekly content, inbound consult calls in 90 days. Now I could dig into each one of these, but I told it to give me 10 at a time. 1 sentence intro. This is like, I don't have this. I never had this. I need to look into this. I help solo WordPress pros turn websites plus simple content into a 90-day revenue system. Okay. I don't, I'd have to, I hate things like this. I know that they're like effective, but like, it's just so confusing to me. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about? 90 days. Like what? I feel like this is almost more confusing than just saying like I build websites. It's not as it's more effective, I guess, but it's confusing. I help tiny agencies productize, price, and ship without losing their minds. That one's super direct. Don't mind that. I turn creator chaos into clean WordPress systems that sell. Yeah, cool. Your past self, your perfect customer. I would say 100%. I am already kind of doing this because I think about this all the time. The people that are how I was and what I did and didn't know, and then how to do that. Every post has a job, so growth, nurture, conversion. This is interesting. So Jet Engine ACF, why 90% should choose the latter with layout. So that's growth. Nurture, case breakdown. Okay, live teardown, law firm, hero section, 10 minutes, ops 5 minutes. Okay, yeah. Obviously, it really doesn't go super in detail when you're trying to ask it to do a bunch of stuff at one time. Free 30-minute offer, template pack. Okay. I mean, I get it. Again, already really good. Brand is not the logo. Use the brand triad. Fight for owner. Operators who want a simple sell. Okay. Common. Call out the common enemy tastefully. This is tough because I don't know who the hell to call out here. Unclear offers. Views don't pay Retainers, consistent offers do. Your client doesn't need motivation or motion blur. They need a lead form that converts. Yeah, I mean, that's not really. I mean, maybe it's a there's some concepts in there, but I feel like that would need to be stronger and looked into. Put a destination in the GPS, 3 month retainer. Yeah, this is like almost like a guarantee, basically. So all good stuff there. And then I just said, hey, give me 10 more. And I said, like, creating from scratch instead of using the Seinfeld method. This is a good one. Build a bank of stuff. So like keep a Notion table with like trigger, lesson, asset, idea. Okay. Your core values, simplicity, tools, revenue. Okay. I mean, again, I don't want to just like talk about the whole thing here. I only got to like 15 in the video, as you saw. But you know, it's a lot of good stuff. It's a lot of good stuff in and of itself, but I also wanted to give you that little quick bit of kind of how you could potentially do that. Um, yeah. Oh, this is a good one here. Actually, I should do that. Two primary platforms. Yeah. Being too narrow or too wide. Main dish, WordPress, agency systems and strategy, sides, automation, AI tools, mindset, and creator philosophy, personal life. Yeah. I think I'm doing this better now because I've moved things around and I've segmented my audiences, I feel like, pretty well now. So that's good. Not using analogies and not repurposing ideas across platforms. Yeah. I mean, again, a lot of this stuff is kind of like self-explanatory. You know what I mean? Like, like you read this and you're like, okay, that makes sense. But then you're like, how do I actually connect that to what I do? Because what you do is different, and this stuff is all specific to me, right? So that I think is like really important, is to kind of build. This is probably like the most beneficial part of AI, is building like the memory up in whatever you're doing, and then being able to literally search against that and like research against that too. I think that's probably the biggest thing for me so far, and that's why it's kind of tough because it's a little bit of a lock in to whatever platform you're using. But yeah, so I think that's like a really important part. So if you're not doing that yet, I would suggest that you do that. Do it with my content. I don't care. Do it with whoever's content. Like, I think that's like, I'm not saying to not support the creators and stuff, but I do think that that's a really cool way to aid in your own progression when you're thinking about stuff and trying to learn on the internet nowadays, because that's pretty sick. So I need to dive into more of that. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.